Continue. We'll do a little bit of contemplative meditation. Few minutes, next few minutes, keeping the eyes closed. Eyes. Take a look at the space you are sitting in, the room, the things, the objects around you, and let us gently close the eyes. As we close the eyes, you might see many of the objects have disappeared from your awareness. It might be blank, or all of a sudden some thoughts are coming up. Once again, open the eyes and become aware of the physical space. We are seated in a room. There is a monitor, phone, computer before us. Left and right, there are things without moving your head. Just move your eyes and see what is in the left hand side, what all objects are in front of you, and tilt your eyes without moving the head. What all is on the right hand side? Take the notice of all the objects and see there is something behind your head also, maybe the wall or something. Just become aware of all the objects in this physical space. Now close the eyes. As we close the eyes, what happens to all those objects? Many of them are dissolved. If I ask you to make the list of all those, a large number of objects will not be present in that list. And relax a bit. Just become aware of the thoughts popping up. Maybe you're trying to still count the objects. Just drop that effort. Are there some emotions coming, thoughts coming, some faces coming which are not in that room, some images coming which are not in that room? Breathe normally, no effort needed, and become aware almost all of the impression of physical space are dissolved. Now either we have darkness or some other thoughts and mental pictures are popping up. Now the awareness is on different type of objects. It could be thoughts, it could be some images in mental images, maybe some emotions. What is this space where right now we are experiencing all this? Is the chitta kasha, the mental, emotional space, the subtle space inside us. Deep breath in and let go. Still become aware that physical space is still there. It appears you are still in the room, but there is no guarantee that it is still is there. The objects are still there until you open the eyes. And as the awareness moves to the physical space, all of a sudden the thoughts and mental images, they get shifted, they get dissolved. So your or our inner space, the chitta kasha, is also changing. Physical space is Bhutakasha, Sanskrit, and Chittakasha, the space in the mind. Taking the attention, who is observing this? The observer inside us is at some other plane. That is how it can see the Chittakasha and the Bhutakasha. From that vantage point of view, it can see the physical space at the same time the subtle inner space. A simplified explanation. It is not literal meaning, just a pointer. So, where is the observer? And in what space all this thing is coming and going? Once this space, once the awareness sleeps or drifts, both the understanding and experience of the physical space disappears, the mental space disappears. What is left is, in meditation, it is I am feeling. In sleep is that cannot be conveyed. Just become very clearly aware of what is Bhutakasha, physical space, what is Chittakasha, that subtle space of emotions, feelings, and sensations. But at what level everything is being experienced and observed? Space of consciousness, Chidakasha. Three spaces, and at your will, you can focus on any of these spaces. And let's move our attention to the states of consciousness or awareness. Right now, are you sleeping? Very likely, no. I hope so. Are you dreaming? Very likely, no. I hope so. But you see, a dream is continuously going on. There are things which are not present. There are people who are not present. There are events which are not present. But a sublime story is going on in the background. Are you aware all the time? Maybe there are moments you have no idea where are you. So were you sleeping? Maybe yes, maybe no. Are you listening to me? Are you awake? I hope so. So let's extrapolate. We experience sleeping, dreaming, and waking in a cyclical manner. What is dream with respect to waking? Can that be dream with respect to dreaming state? In the dream, the experiencer never knows it is a dream. It appears so real. And the so-called waking state, all the experiences seem so real. What is the difference between waking and dreaming? Both look so real. Is there a remote possibility that the dreamer goes into sleep and enters into another state called waking and start experiencing what you, me are experiencing right now. Sleeping, dreaming, waking. All these things are states are transient. But what stays common in all these three states? The feeling of I am. And from that feeling of I am, we are seeing even space also. Without the feeling of I am, there is no physical awareness of physical space, no awareness of inner space, and no awareness of all this transient waking, sleeping, dreaming state. So, what is common between the experience, space, and state of being is I'll let it on you to figure it out. I'll leave you with this for another minute before we open our eyes. Continue your own self exploration. Take a deep breath in, slowly let go. Another deep breath in and gently let go. Taking your own time, we may open our eyes. Hey, Raji, can we share? Give me the permission to share the screen. Let's remember Guruji for a moment before we continue. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Shri Gurave Namaha. Prayer. यतः सर्वाणि भूतानि प्रतिभान्ति स्थितानि च यत्रैवोपश्मं यान्ति तस्मै सत्यात्मने नमः. Salutations to that reality in which all the elements and all the animate and inanimate beings shine, as if they have an independent existence, and in which they exist for a time and into which they merge. ज्ञाता ज्ञानं तथा ज्ञेयं Drashta darshana drashya bhuhu karta hetu kriya yasmat tasmai gyaptyatmane namaha. Salutations to that consciousness which is the source of the apparently distinct threefold divisions of knower, knowledge, and known, seer, sight, and seen, doer, doing, and deed. स्फुरन्ति शिखरायस्मद् आनन्दस्याम्बरे वनौ सर्वेषां जीवनं तस्मै ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः. Salutations to that bliss absolute, the ocean of bliss, which is the life of all beings, whose happiness and unfoldment is derived from the shower of spray from that ocean of bliss. So, Raji, can we continue from the point, the fourth chapter, which you had read last time?
Yeah, give me 1 minute, Prabhachi. I'll keep that ready.
Okay. So, meanwhile, everybody's here. Okay, very good. Thank you for being here. And we'll not ask any question. Let's close our eyes. Let Raji bring it up. We'll listen, and then if later we can ask question and answer.
I have it, Prabhachi. Should I share?
Share and read it from that point, right? We'll read it for another 20 minutes.
Okay.
And then we'll take some discussion, 10 minutes or so.
Any volunteers to read? I think we finished almost like he came back. Correct me because it's a couple weeks ago. So I'll read it from time or death said. Give me a thumbs up if my voice is okay. Time or death said, O son of Bhrigu, abandon this body of yours and re-enter your other body, even as a king re-enters his kingdom. With the other body of Sukra, once again engage yourself in penance and then become the spiritual perceptor of the demons. At the end of epoch, you will give up the body, never to become embodied again. Having said this, time vanished at that place, at the very place. Thereupon, Sukra abandoned the body of Vasudeva, in which he had performed intense penance on the bank of the river Samanka, and re-entered decayed body of Sukra, the son of sage Bhrigu. At that very moment, the body of Vasudeva fell down like an uprooted tree and become a corpse. The sage Bhrigu sprinkled the body of Sukra with holy water from his own water pot, uttering sacred hymns which had the power to revive that body, clothing it with flesh, etc. Instantly, that body became youthful and radiant as it was before. Sukra got up from a meditative posture and seeing his father, the sage Bhrigu, standing in front of him, fell prostrate at his feet. Bhrigu was delighted to see his son, thus resurrected from dead, and fondly embraced him, smiling happily all the while. The feeling of affection at that, the thought, this is my son, overcame even the sage Bhrigu. This is natural as long as there is no body, as long as there is body consciousness. Both of them rejoiced at this happy reunion. Both Bhrigu and Sukra then performed the funeral rites of the body of the Brahmana by Vasudeva. For thus do the men of wisdom honor social customs and traditions. Both of them then shone with the radiance of sun and the moon. They who were surely the spiritual perceptors of the whole universe, roamed the world. Established firmly in the knowledge of the self, they remained unmoved by the changes that took place in the time and in the environment. In the course of time, Sukra became spiritual preceptor of the demons, and his father Bhrigu became one of the sages of the highest wisdom. Such is the story of the sage Sukra, who, on account of his infatuation with the nymph, wandered in countless wombs. Rama asked, Holy Sir, why does not the wish of other materialized as the wish of Sukra materialized in his ascent to heaven, etc.? Vasishta replied, Sukra's mind was pure, since that was his first embodiment. That mind was not loaded with impurities of other previous embodiments. The mind is pure, in which all cravings are in a state of quiescence. Whatever that pure mind wishes, that materialize. What happened in that respect to Sukra is possible for everyone else. The world exists in each jiva in a seed state and becomes manifest like the tree sprouting from the seed. The world is thus falsely fancied by each individual. The world neither arises nor sets. All this is nothing but fancy of deluded mind. Within each one, there is a fancy world, even as one's dreams are unknown to others. One's world is unknown to others. There are goblins, demigods, and demons, all of which are embodiments of delusion. Even so, have we come into being, O Rama, out of pure thought force, or consider the false to be real. Such indeed is the origin of creation in the infinite consciousness. Materiality is not factual, it is perceived in emptiness. Everyone thus fancies his own world. When this truth is realized, the world thus fancied come to an end. The world exists only in appearance or imagination and not because one sees the material substances. It is like a long dream or a juggler's trick. It is the post to which mind elephant is tied. The mind is the world is the mind. When one is realized as not true, both of them vanish. When the mind is purified, it reflects the truth, and the unreal world appearance vanishes. The mind is purified by persistent contemplation of the truth. Rama asked, how did the succession of births, etc., arise in the mind of Sukra? Vasishta replied, Sukra had been taught by his father Bhrigu concerning the succession of birth, and this teaching had conditioned Sukra's mind, which conjured up expansion of such conditioning. Only when the mind is totally purified of all conditioning does it regain its utter purity. That pure mind experiences liberation. Vashishta continued. The diversity that is seen in this creation, O Rama, is but an appearance of diversity. Evaluation or involution has the one infinite consciousness as its source and as its goal. During evaluation, there seems to be an apparent diversity in one infinite consciousness, in accordance with the notions that appear in that consciousness. Some of these notions intermingle, thus producing infinite variety in this diversity. Some do not thus intermingle, but in fact, all these notions appear in every atom of existence, and these atoms exist independent of one another. The totality is known as absolute Brahman. I'll just take a note. Sorry. Each individual sees only those objects which are rooted in his own mind. When the ideas in the mind do not bear fruits, there is a change in mind. There follows a succession of births to suit these psychological changes. It is this psychological connection that creates the conviction in the reality of birth and death. And in the reality of the body, when this conviction is given up, there is cessation of embodiment. It is only because forgetfulness of truth that the confusion arises, that the unreal is real. But the purification of the life force, prana, and by the knowledge that is which is beyond this prana or life force, one gains knowledge of all that is to be known concerning the activities of the mind as well as the basis of succession of births. The self of all living beings passes through three states: waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. They have nothing to do with the body. Even this is based on the assumption of existing of living beings in the one self, which is not the truth. The wise man who goes beyond the deep sleep state, which is pure consciousness, return to the source. But the fool who does not caught up in the life cycle. Since consciousness is infinite, one is led from one life cycle to another. Even beyond world cycle, such creations are endless, one appearing within another like the barks of the plankton stream. Of course, it is unwise to compare Brahman, the absolute, with anything. One should inquire into that which is truly uncaused cause of all substances, which is yet beyond all such causation. This alone is worth inquiring into, for this alone is essential. Why inquire into the non-essential? Vasistha continued, O Rama, the tree in a seed grows out of it after destroying the seed. But Brahman creates this world without destroying itself. The tree, world, appears even when the seed, Brahman, is as it is. Hence, it is possible to compare the incomparable Brahman with anything whatsoever, whereas the tree, etc., are definable material substances. Brahman is the nameless and formless being. It is Brahman alone that becomes whatever appears to be a different nature. Yet, from another point of view, it does not so become, for it is eternal and changeless. One cannot therefore foist anything concerning Brahman. It is not possible to say that it has not become all this, nor it nor is it possible to say that it has become all this. When the self is seen as object, the seer is not seen, realized. As long as objective universe is perceived, one does not realize the self. When you see the mirage as water, you do not perceive the rising hot air. But when you perceive the hot air, you do not see water and mirage. When one is truth, the other is not. The eyes which perceives all subject of the world do not see themselves. As long as one entertains the notion of objectivity, the self is not realized. Brahman is a subtle and pure as space. It cannot be realized by any effort whatsoever. As long as one sees what is seen with the inner feeling that they are objects of perception, himself being their separate object, separate seer or subject. The realization of Brahman is far indeed. It is only when the division between the seer and the seen is given up, only when two are seen as of one substance, that the truth is realized. There is no object which is totally of a different nature from the subject, nor can subject self be seen as if it were an object. In fact, the subject self alone appears to the sight as the seen object. There is no other object of perception here. If again the subject or the self alone is all this, then surely it is not even the subject or the seer. There is no division in such a vision. As a sugar, just a sugar become diverse sweetmeats without ever losing its natural sweetness. This is infinite consciousness or Brahman visualize itself as all this infinite diversity without ever divesting itself or its essential nature. There is no limit whatsoever to the manifestation of this infinite consciousness. Vasistha continued. Each jiva experience within itself whatever and however it has given rise to the within itself with the help of its own life force. O Rama, behold with the eye of your inner wisdom the truth that in every atom of existence there are countless world appearances. In everyone's mind, in the very space, in every rock, in the flame of fire and water, there exist countless world appearances. Even as oil exists in the sesame seed, it is when the mind becomes absolute pure that it becomes pure consciousness, and therefore one with the infinite consciousness. The world appearances is but a long dream which manifests everywhere, being the imagination of Brahma, the creator, and all others. The objects thus born in the creator's dream migrate from dream to dream, from the from embodiment to the embodiment, thus generated the illusionary solidity of this world appearances. This dreamlike appearances is yet true during the period of the dream itself. Within every atom is the potential experience of every kind, even as a seed contains within itself a different aspects of the tree, flowers, leaves, fruits, etc. Within every atom of existence, there is infinite consciousness. Hence, it is indivisible. Therefore, give up all your notion of diversity or unity. Time, space, action or motion, and matter are but different aspect of one infinite consciousness, and consciousness experience them within itself, whether it happens to the body of the creator Brahma or that of a worm. An atom of consciousness, when it attains to the fully grown state of body, experiences its own faculties. Someone perceives the object spread out of its own sorry someone perceives the object spread out as if outside because the infinite consciousness is omnipresent. Others behold everything within, evolving and devolving alternatively. Some go from one dream experience to another, wandering in this world appearance. The rare few realize that the world appearance seen within themselves is illusionary, except as the one infinite consciousness which alone is ever true. On the account of this consciousness, the world appears in the jiva, and there are jivas within jivas, an infinitum. It is when one thus experiences the truth that he freed from illusion. At the same time, one craving for pleasure is thinned out. This is only proof of wisdom. A painted pot of nectar is not nectar, nor painted flame fire, and a painting of a woman is not a woman. Wise words are mere words, ignorance, not wisdom, unless they are substantiated by the absence of desire and anger. Vasishta continued, the very seed for all jivas, which is absolute Brahman, exists everywhere. And within the jivas, there are countless jivas. All this is because the entire universe is totally permeated with an infinite consciousness. Upon their appearances as Vishuki, Vishuchika, whatever type of contemplations they adopt, they soon become the same nature. They who are devoted to the gods reach gods. They who adored the demigods attain the demigods. They who contemplated the absolute Brahman become Brahman. Hence, one should resort to that which is not limited, conditioned, or finite. By contemplating the form of Nim, Sukra was bound, and when he realized the purity of his self, which is infinite consciousness, he was instantly liberated. Rama asked, Holy Sir, pray tell me of the true nature of waking and the dreaming states. What constitute the waking state and how does dream or delusion in the waking state arise? Vasishta said, the state which endures in the known as the waking state and which is the transient is the dream state. During the period of even dream, it takes on the characteristics of waking state. And when the waking state is realized to be of a fleeting nature, it gets the characteristics of the dream. Otherwise, the two are the same. When the life force in the body stirs, the various organs of the thought, word, and deed perform their functions. They flow toward their objects of perception in accordance with the deluded notions that prevail in the mind. This life force perceives diverse forms within the self. Since this perception seems to be an enduring nature, it is known as the waking state. But when the life force, Jiva Chetana, is not thus devoted by the mind and body, it remains rooted in the peace within the heart. There is no movement of consciousness in the nerves of the body, nor does the life force activate the senses. However, that consciousness which is awake even in deep sleep and which is also the light that shines in waking and dreaming is transcendental consciousness, turiya. When again the seeds of ignorance and delusion expand, there arises the first thought, which is the thought I am. Then one perceives thought forms within the mind in dreams. At this time, the external sense organs do not function, but the inner sense function, and there is perception within oneself. This is the dream state. When the life force again activates the life senses, once again there is wakefulness. Vashishta continued. I
Let's
have dis-
stop. Let's stop. Yeah.
okay.
I think
Yeah.
it's a lot of good material here, right? Isn't it? Okay. So let's go over a couple of key points here, right? So I was just taking notes while Raji was reading. I'll just see that if I can share this thing. Okay. Let me know once you can see that, right? Some of the key things, right? Very quickly we'll do. Okay. Have you ever thought where the world exists? You exist in the world or world exists inside you? Hmm? You exist in the world exists inside you? The world
World
exists,
exists inside you.
World exists inside.
but you exist in my world. I see you in the outside on my screen, isn't it? So very fascinating, right? Where is the physical space? Is it inside you or you are inside physical space? So let's see the key, some of the key points, right? What Raju just picked. I mean, I just came, I that meditation came and we did the meditation and looks like a lot is captured here in the last part. It's very interesting phenomena. So the world exists in each jiva in a seed state and becomes manifest like a tree sprouting from the seed. The world is totally falsely fancied by each individual. Is your world different from the person sitting next to you?
Yes.
The way we see our world, the someone sees, isn't it very different? You may have the same food, but the experience of food is very different. You go to same party and the experience with the person from the party varies person to person. Yes or no? Yeah. You do the same
Yes.
meditation, the experience will be very different. So where does the world exist? Are we living that matrix? Yeah, the story inside us? This is what is a pointer. I'm not saying anything. I'm just reading. I'm just like reminding the pointers here that where the world exists as a seed inside a jiva. Okay. So read it, this thing. See, there are goblins and demigods and demons. Okay. All of which are embodiment of delusion. Have you ever got scared in a dark room when you were a child? Did
Yes.
you create your own goblins? Monsters under the bed? Yeah. And that is how the world exists, okay? Out of the pure thought force and consider the false to be real. Okay, here is the interesting thing. That thought force started thinking we are unreal, something else is real. Then the circus started. So very beautiful. I would say just read these things again. Then the question is birth and death, good karma, bad karma, human life. I think a couple of weeks back we had this interesting conversation. Human life is the best life kind of thing, right? So then how the succession of birth, etc. happens, right? Next birth, we do a lot of good work to attain a better life or something. The answer is here. Shukra had been taught by his father. In this particular case, replace Shukra by ourselves. Put your name concerning the succession of the births. And this teaching had conditioned, replace Shukra with your name, mind, which conjured up the expansion of such conditioning. Have you seen? Once we have conditioned something, the next set of events are very matching this. You start seeing, oh, somebody is bad, then you see all their behavior is bad. You think someone is good, all of a sudden their behavior start looking good. It's a lot about conditioning. Okay. Only when the mind is totally purified of all conditioning does it regain its utter purity. That pure mind experiences liberation. Remember that brief glimpses of so hum, and then lying down. The conditioning is over and it's a deep liberation. Just I am, no past, no future. So Gurudev keeps giving us the glimpse. Now it is up to us, make it permanent. Actually, there is no need to do anything, or maybe it is need to do anything. Let me try to confuse all of you. Okay. The diversity that is seen in this creation, O Rama, is but an appearance of diversity. Okay. In your dream, you see so many characters, 10, 20 characters. It's the diversity. Is it reality or it is our own creation? Something to ponder about. Juhi will come to your question. Yeah. Just let me just read it quickly, then we'll talk. But keep your question with you. This totality is known as absolute Brahman. So actually, that totality, when you see your dream, that totality is you. All that diverse form, places, space, feeling, emotions of all those characters, that collapses into what unity, which is you when you wake up. Similarly, there is something else, that infinite consciousness, where all this diversity right now is appearing, popping up. That is where is the pointer. What is that? Absolute Brahman. Now, each individual sees only those objects which are rooted in his mind or her mind. So, when you saw your room, you close your eyes. How many things you were see once your eyes were closed? Only things which were registered in your mind, isn't it? Something to ponder about how we experience anything. Whatever is rooted in our own mind, that only we see. Otherwise, people are in rush. They don't even see car keys in front of their eyes. Have you seen that? Somebody, it doesn't happen with you. It mostly with your spouses. They can't see the things, right? Then you come and tell, look, Sharma, this is here, right? So this is a pointer. Whatever is rooted in our mind, that becomes the experience. Otherwise, it doesn't exist. There are 8 billion people on this planet. You know, Jilch. You know, maybe 100, 200, 500 people. The rest, 8 billion, almost 8.5 billion people don't exist because they are not rooted in your mind. The only thing rooted in our mind is number. That is why we believe there are 8.5 billion people. Nobody knows, isn't it? So, whatever is rooted in our mind, that makes the experience of the world. When the idea in the mind does not bear fruit, there is a change in the mind. So, this is very interesting thing. I think how the rebirth happens, it is a kind of a secret, you see. When the ideas in the mind do not bear fruit, there is a change in the mind. There follows a succession of births to suit these psychological changes. Let me try to give an example. Somewhere Gurudev says, or somewhere I had read, is that the rat become cat. Okay. In next birth, rat becomes cat because cat is the biggest impression on a rat, right? So that is how life evolves. Have you ever thought about how come the evolution happened, that from the unicellular it became multicellular, then it became fish, then it wanted to get out of the land, then amphibian life came, then the frog wanted to run fast, it became reptile wanted to fly, it became bird. Have you seen this thing? And nobody's engineering, nobody's doing surgery on the life forms. So this is something when the ideas in the mind do not bear fruit. So consciousness, one form of awareness, struggles with something. Then next form is a better upgraded version. In whatever area it is struggling, it becomes that. It takes similar form. So rat becomes cat, cat becomes someone else, and eventually everybody is tortured by human beings. So finally they become human beings. And then human beings realize it is not so awesome experience. Let's become nothing again. That then they come to Yoga Vasistha class to go back to the soul. No, it's a joke, right? So it's a mechanism that whatever is the deepest thing and it is non-functioning, that becomes the target for the next version. Does it make any sense? Yes, no? Okay. Mechanism. It is this physiological connection that creates the conviction in the reality of birth and death and in the reality of the body. When this conviction is given up, there is a cessation of embodiment. Then we listen to Yoga Vasistha. They say, oh, everything is consciousness. Then all of a sudden, this idea, oh, this version is better, that version is better, that ceases. And then something else happen. Let's experience ourselves. Otherwise, Cavallia will find 2, 3 questions in that. Cavallia, I'll come to you. Just give me 1 or more minute. Okay. Okay. So just read. And then you see the self of all living being passes through 3 stages: waking, dreaming, and sleep. It very clearly explains how this experience comes, but what is the reality behind that? What stays there? Yeah. So please do read this one. They have nothing to do with the body. So your sleeping, dreaming has nothing to do with the body. Even it is based on the assumption of existence of living being in the oneself, which is not truth. Okay. The one thing I'll see here. So every jiva experiences within itself whatever and however it has given rise to within itself with the help of its own life force. So this is about your prana. So the your prana and the experiences are very much correlated. That is why our breath and inner space is very connected. When we are angry, breath is different. By regulating your life force, the experience changes. The little explanation of how pranayama affects our mental state. This world experience is but a long dream which manifests everywhere, being the imagination of Brahma, the creator, and all other. Okay. So the world experience is a long dream by not you, it is by Brahman, right? The object thus born in the creator's dream migrate from dream to dream. So some object in Brahma's dream is Prabhat. It is migrating in your dream as a facilitator of this thing. So you see that the Brahman has created so many objects in its dream and they are migrating from one dream to other dream. Just something to ponder about. Thus generating the illusory solidity of this world appearance. This dream-like appearance is yet true during the period of dream itself. It's a very deep thing. I think I thought that I will be able to explain, but as I'm reading, it just seems it is so difficult to explain. So my request will be try it reading multiple times. Yeah. And there is one interesting thing. Yeah, time, space, action or motion and matter are all but different aspect of one infinite consciousness. And the consciousness experiences them within itself, whether it happens to be the body of the creator Brahma or that of the worm. Where do you experience time? Sometimes time is moving fast.
Mind. In the mind.
Time inside us. Yeah. Mind is also experience arising and falling inside us. Yeah. So just understanding that where do we experience time? Where do we experience space? You close your eyes, the physical space appears inside, isn't it? Where are your feelings and emotions? Inside us only. So all the time, matter, space, where they are arising and falling, something to ponder about. It just appears everything is outside, everything is an independent entity, but a closer look gives a different perspective. Okay. Okay. The last one, and then we can take question answer, is that the very seed for all jivas, which is absolute Brahman, exists everywhere. Everywhere. Within the jivas, there are countless other jivas. Have you ever thought within your body there are countless other jivas? How many bacteria, how many viruses, how many parasites, big, small, this body carries? Every little cell is a independent entity. Every white blood cell, red blood cell has its own awareness consciousness. There are about several trillion cells. I don't know whether it is 3 trillion or 300 trillion independent cells, right? Everything act independently. Forget about that. How many tapeworms, how many bacteria, how many viruses, they all are independent existence inside one jiva. And do you think they are aware about how they look? Do you think the cell inside my this nail is aware about how do I look, or the cell inside my femur, or yeah, what is this elbow, that the bone cell knows how do it look like a human being?
No.
It has its own, right? That awareness must be having something. And we are sitting in this planet Earth and we think we know everything. It might be possible we are sitting as a bone cell in somebody's elbow, right? There is no guarantee, isn't it? Because that bone cell cannot imagine that how vast is the universe. Do you understand? So there are so many jivas inside each jiva. Something to ponder about, something to understand. All this is because the entire universe is totally permeated within the infinite consciousness. This is a very beautiful, like this dialogue, and I think multiple time we have to read. The state which endures is known as waking state. Endures is, it seems long, right? Like waking state, like it's long, not only the day, right? All the time we are like 70, 80, 90, 100 years are aware. That is the waking state endures. And which is transient is the dream state. Dream comes and goes. Like tomorrow night, there will be a complete different story, isn't it? But that is a transient state. During the period of even the dream, it takes on the characteristic of waking state. So whatever was the waking state, you were thinking, you were worried, sometime it reflects in the dreaming state. And when the waking state is realized to be a fleeting nature, it gets the characteristic of dream. Have you, Guruji keeps reminding, oh, life is like a dream. Once we start seeing, oh, life is like a dream, you'll see, oh, what? Yeah, nothing is like you cannot hold on to anything. Everything is changing. People are coming and going. You cannot hold on to any event, situation, person. It's just like a dream. And then all of a sudden the perspective shifts. Oh, yeah, even waking state is like a dream. It's just a longer dream. That it's a one long enduring dream. So what is the difference between a dream in the sleeping, which comes after sleeping state, versus a dream which is enduring, which comes after a dreaming or sleeping state? Something to ponder about. And it says, otherwise the two are the same. Otherwise, the two are the same. Okay, so there is a lot more about how prana, the life force, how it gives that kind of a materialization to these experiences. So I'll stop here. There were a couple of questions. Okay, but before that, close your eyes. I'll not recap, just recap on your own. What caused this drama of birth, rebirth? What causes this perpetuation of idea of creation? Where the space, action, time are reflected? Where do we experience all those things? And at the same time, are you aware? Inside you, there are so many forms of life. They have their own world. That bacteria is having its own dream. The bacteria is having its own Iran and America war, right? Just become aware of all those things. Are you even aware? And then what is the difference between this long dream versus short dream? Can you hold on to anything? Can you fully grasp anything? Can you solidify anything? Isn't it? Everything is just fleeting, fleeting, fleeting. But what stays across all these experiences is I am. I am. I am. So, what is the solid reality? Something to ponder about. Take a deep breath in and slowly let go. Another deep breath in and gently let go. Whenever you feel complete, we may open our eyes. Okay. So let's see. Any question? Juhi, you had first question?
Yes, Jai Gurudev Prabhat ji. I think the
Hmm.
question is still forming, but what I wanted to understand is that if what I perceive the world is different and what others perceive the world as different, and so first is then how do we know what is real? And then it says that the purity of mind will bring you to the clarity of the world. So, is it trying to make us understand that once the mind is pure, we align with the bigger consciousness? And how will we know that we have aligned?
Good question and good answer. Your question has the answer, right? If you listen what you just talked, it has the question. And if you hear from my perspective, it has the answer. Isn't it? Just reflect upon what is your question. Write it down. It's a beautiful question. Okay. Write it down and read it reverse order. Okay. You will understand. Hmm. You will understand. And don't be in rush to purify your mind, because mind is also unreal. Mind is also a unreal entity. You go to chapter 2 or chapter 1. Chapter 1, Rama talks about mind, right? Upon a close examination, mind appears to be a false entity, right? So you cannot purify something which is already false. So mind is part of a illusion, like just like a body is part of the illusion, right? Our individuality is part of the illusion or a transient reflection in that big consciousness. So now paying so much of importance to all these transient phenomena solidifies that dream. But when you say, okay, everything is fleeting, my mind is changing, my body is changing, it's not so serious. And then you see how it will come, because whatever I'll tell you, it will be one more conditioning, isn't it? So you just take a step back and just observe, read these things couple of more times. That will give you a real pointer. Otherwise, one concept will be replaced by other concept. Does it make sense?
Yes, I think I was going, like, I was trying to figure out the objective of this three, four lines, and I think you said it beautifully that it's about taking it less seriously and just observing.
You take it sincerely, not seriously. We take life very serious. When we know nobody gets out of this alive, right? Gurudev says that don't take life so seriously. Nobody gets alive out of it, right? So,
Mm.
yeah. And don't take these question also very seriously, because we need to start questioning. Hmm, is my mind real? Hmm, is this time real? Then the right understanding starts dawning. Otherwise, we start questioning why mind is not real, why I am not real. It is so solid experience. And then we create the next birth, next birth, next birth, which is also non-existent because it is just a experience. And time also doesn't exist as per Yoga Vasistha. That is also experience. So in reality, nobody loses anything. It is just the process of that thing. Yeah.
Mm.
So this is what Yoga Vasistha says, right? As per what I understood. Hmm? So don't quote me.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Cavallia has some good technical question. Cavallia, you still there?
Yeah, I'm very much there.
Tell
I,
me.
I don't know if it's technical, but can we please just go back to that phrase which says that um the sorry, uh, something which does not bear fruit.
Yeah.
Um, what does it exactly mean? Maybe I was in
Yeah.
dream state when you were explaining, so I apologize.
No,
But
no, no, no. See,
um,
yeah. Here it says, right?
yeah, so when the ideas in the mind do not bear fruits, there's a
Yeah.
change in the mind.
Yes, I'll tell you a real life example. What do you do, Cavallia?
I am a therapist. I'm an occupational therapist.
Occupational therapist, right? Did you change your job ever?
Within the field, yeah.
Within the field, right? So
Yeah.
when you why you change the job? Because certain idea was not bearing the fruit. Maybe the boss was not good, or you got married, you have to move, right? Or money was not as per your this thing, or you just got bored, right? Something was there which was not bearing the fruit that led you to seek a change. Yes or no?
Oh, okay. That's one way to look at it. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Let's go with that.
So then what happens is that, and the bigger scheme of the things, right? Why you want to get enlightened? There are a lot of people, they are happy like drinking, smoking, isn't it? So
Hmm.
now I was one of those once upon a time, right? Now those ideas were not fulfilling. That pushed me to seek a change. And here I am sitting answering this question, right? So you
Okay.
see that there is a constant change, like there are a set of ideas in the mind
Hmm.
and they give certain fulfillment. Hmm when
Okay.
they continue. And then at one point, they are not bearing the fruit. Either there is a challenge, you want to become something, do something, there is some
Hmm.
challenge that is stopped, or you lose interest in that, right? It is stopped giving you pleasure. Then there is a change in the idea and that it is not bearing what is desired fruit, right? It could be
Okay.
satisfaction, it could be safety, security, whatever. And that is how the consciousness triggers for a change, and then the change happens in our day to day life also. Yes or no? Okay, so
Okay.
same thing happens the birth rebirth also. I explained that the rat was not very happy being insecure as a rat, and the biggest threat is cat. So what the mind says, if I was cat I will be totally protected and safe and secure. Being rat is not serving me, right? So the next birth it becomes cat. You see
Oh,
that?
so
Does it make sense? Yeah.
it does from one perspective. It does, and I think um it probably the word surrender any which ways is tricky, based on some of the recent things that Gurudev has said. But you pretty much end up giving up on whatever your idea is, and only that can help you change.
Why something need to help me? I'm okay, I'm comfortable. Are you understanding? You are saying you is me in this conversation, right? I'm
Okay,
perfectly
I'm
fine.
talking to myself. Like, if
Yes. Talk about yourself. Yeah.
so, I have certain ideas. Okay,
Yes.
they are not bearing fruit. So
Yes.
that means that I have to somewhere give up those ideas.
No, it is not saying it need to give up, right? You will continue, and if they continue not giving a fruit for next 10 year, what will you do? Tell me. Nobody is asking you to drop the ideas, right? Just extrapolate. If next 10 years, God forbid, if those ideas don't bear fruit, what the life will force you to do? Change the
Yeah,
path
have
or
to.
continue, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
So
pretty much a like
it's a
only
natural
one way to
phenomena. It
one
is
way to
telling
look.
a mechanism. Cavalier, there are
Okay.
two things. There is a guidance and there is a mechanism, right? It is not guiding you to give up the idea. Yoga Vasistha is not saying that give up your ideas. Okay.
Hmm.
It is saying that when the ideas in the mind do not bear the fruit, then there is a change. Okay. You
Hmm.
see in your life, nobody is asking you to give up your ideas. You continue. If they bear the fruit, you will be happy continuing in that track. If the ideas do not bear the fruit, after some time, it varies depending upon the ideas and all. we naturally give up, yes or no? So it is explaining the mechanism. It is not suggesting that you give up. Does it make sense?
Okay, fair enough. Just one last thing. So, if the ideas do bear fruit, does it mean that there is no change
For time being, because no idea is satisfactory forever,
and something else will take its place? Okay, all right.
isn't it?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
see your
fair enough.
life, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
keep changing our toys, right? So for time being, you'll be happy, and then there will be just, it will seem that it is not serving its purpose. Yes or no?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that time the mechanism will restart.
yeah.
Okay.
It's evolutionary. It'll
Yeah.
go from like
Aha.
one thing to the other. Okay,
Okay. You
and
got it.
yeah, I hope so. um, and another thing that I just was wondering about the whole jiva within the jiva. I think the initial line says that it's the supreme jiva, right? Like the big jiva, the Brahman, and then
Big
within
Jiva,
itself,
Brahman is not a big Jiva. The
it is.
individual consciousness is Jiva. Hmm?
Okay, so
Okay.
okay, let's go with that. So the individual consciousness. So one aspect is just the physical part, right? The way you described in terms of the number of cells that are in the body
Hmm.
and the bacteria and all of that.
Hmm.
But do identities also do identities also go in the category of jivas? Because I'm trying to think, okay, what do I mean? And again, this could be totally taken as like a very intellectual or a technical question, but this mind comes up with all these identities, um that okay, I fit the role of, whatever, a daughter, a wife, a worker. So do those also become like sub jivas, and then eventually you move on from those identities also? Or is it just physical, or does it permeate all the other six levels of existence, I guess?
At least like in those six levels, body will be missing if you're talking about just the mental phenomena. So at least there are not six levels, right?
No, I'm agreeing with what you're saying. So body, yes. Then like, well, I don't know how we can create jivas within the breath, but mind creates so many jivas, right? And so on and so forth. So do they permeate these other levels also?
I mean, in your dream, you experience multiple jivas, right? But they dissolve very soon, right? So,
Okay.
isn't it? So, question is that all jivas are illusion. Okay.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
question is whether you want to focus on the type, subtype, categories, classification of false entities, or you go to the real entity. Right? That is where is the question. You see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, focus is what is your current jiva. When Cavallia says, I am Cavallia, just
Mm-hmm.
focus on that thing like, who am I? Hmm? Who
Okay.
am I? What am I? Where am I? And then all other things which are not so productive for this jiva called Cavallia will drop off. And let's say that a bacteria inside your body is thinking about who am I, what I'm doing in this gut, that will get liberated with its own thinking, right? So we don't have to like chase every single intellectual impulse, right? We choose right impulse. Right impulse is who am I, where am I, what am I? Hmm? But good question. I think these are good. And you should just sit down and just say, oh, how many am I? You can add one more. How many am I? Okay, when Gurudev says three questions, who am I, what am I, where am I? You can add one or two of your own into that, and it is all good. Okay. Okay.
You.
So Raji asks, what is the fruit in this context? Fruit is like whatever is the mental objective, right? That the idea is like that we want to have some experience. Hmm? The jiva seeks experiences, certain kind of experiences. Once they do not fulfill, then it is forced to change that. Question: if this world is dream, when one get enlightened, other should also get enlightened, isn't it? Because the person who got enlightened created this world. Yes, once you get enlightened, you ask that person, did you also get enlightened or not? Guruji tells enlightenment is a joke. Hmm? If everything is one, who is enlightened, who is not enlightened, right?
Yeah, that's my question, Prabhaji. Like, what is there in it? Like, if
Yeah,
everything is a dream, if one wakes up, that dream also has to disappear, right? What is
but
happening?
you cannot ask this question when you are dreaming. Once you wake up from the dream, that time is the right time to ask this question, right? In the dream all the character can keep asking whatever they want to do, right? So yes, at one level intellectually what you are saying is right, but that is not personal experience. So it will become that intellectual gymnastic, right, which yield no fruit. Next day we will be having same life experience, right? So that is why pertinent this thing. Yeah, it's a great thing. Who get enlightened? I will bother about that later, but let me first understand who am I. That is why I say don't worry about enlightenment. Like the important thing is just see who am I, who am I, who am I. Come back to the self inquiry. Forget about the objective because nobody knows what is enlightenment. Even if you ask Guruji, Guruji never explains what is enlightenment. If you see, right? So we
Yeah.
have seen enlightened people, and then seeing them, we have formed an opinion. Once I get enlightened, I will grow the beard. If you're a female, I don't know like what physical appearance you will pick, right? I will have followers. I can create miracles. I can talk knowledge because this is what we have seen. Somebody is enlightened, right? This is how we form the opinion. But nobody knows how Gurudev feels as an
Yeah.
enlightened being. What is his experience as an enlightened being? So rest is just a periphery packaging from my perspective. I would prefer that I get the glimpse how Gurudev feels in that space. What is his experience, right? From that space of enlightenment or whatever it is, a permanent, transient, whatever is that. How is that experience of this creation and self-referential perspective and point of view, that is important. Rest everything is just a another story. We see Gurudev and other enlightened being and then it just forms that opinion. For me is okay, what is that peace, what is that perspective, being enlightened. Does it make sense? Everything
Okay.
else is a qualification in the dream state.
Yeah. I have one more question actually.
Okay.
So in the Vedanta or Advaita, whatever we talk, everything is Brahman. Again, we say everything is nothing but one. And here also, Yoga Vishta, we say we are the one who's creating. Rather than send from N to 1, here it is saying 1 to N. I'm the one who's creating everything, right?
Yeah. So what is
Similar.
the question?
Both are similar, isn't it?
It is not question, it is realization that. And Yoga Vasistha is part of Vedanta. It is not the traditional Vedanta, it is a later part. This came into the this one. So it is Advaita Vedanta. Vedanta is the pinnacle of the knowledge, right? And Advaita is non-dual, the stream of this thing where there is, I think in last session when we had that last series, I had talked about dualism, non-dualism. Maybe we should cover once upon a time. I think Naveen is here, is so silent. We should have a lecture from Naveen one of these days. Like he's so learned. We should give him some of these topic explaining different branches of Vedanta, dualism, non-dualism. He can share his perspective. Naveen, what do you think?
Prabhatji, you're just elevating me. Okay, I'm just a student, a learner, just like you. Yeah, in our last session, we did talk about Srishti, Drushti, Srishti, and finally the Ajatvada. That is
Yeah.
not just non-dualism, no creation, nothing of that thing. So this is the culmination. It's the highest ontological truth we are talking here, and yeah, it's someone actually brought up epistemology and the pedagogical techniques that we actually use to employ to try to describe what cannot be described.
Yeah, I think San shared, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is Ajatvad that nothing was ever created because in dream everything is not created. It is just a illusion, right? That is what is Ajatvad. Is the world is never created, nothing is created. So we should have. I mean, last time I tried to sprinkle all those things, like concept, and this time also I wanted. Like remember before I went on my mom's this thing, I wanted to touch upon few of the Vedantic concept, then it becomes easy. I think Naveen, you should take a session on this one. I think you are the best person to take that session. Maybe next session, why don't you cover a few of those topics?
I'll take a look. No
Yeah.
problem. Yeah.
Come up with something for half an hour. You should share that thing. Yeah, I can also take, but I think you are the right person to share with the group. Okay, I think it is almost 7:30. So thank you so much. If there is no question, then we'll meet next week. Okay, next week I'll ask Naveen to conduct the session. Okay, Naveen and Raji, you both conduct the next session. I will also be there, but let's cover some of those concepts.
Yeah, Prabhaji.
Good.
Very good.
Jai Gurudev, everyone.
Hey, Gurudev, thank you
Yeah,
very much.
good. Thank you.
Baji,
Yeah,
can you just please stay back for maybe 1 minute? I wanted to share something.
oh, definitely, I will.
Prabhatji, I also had one question. Can I ask you?
Yes, please.
So, I just when we were discussing
Stop
that.
1 second. It is streaming.
Oh.
If it is a personal question, let's stop stream.